think this is a good time to start trying this deck in leagues. This is a deck I've been kind of working on for a few weeks now. And I've been saying this on stream a lot too, that I've been staying away from Rakdos decks that have no plan against Graveyard Hate, okay? And looking a little bit more at the metagame, there are despite us playing Leyline of the Void, there are very few Leyline of the Voids now. There are basically no Rest in Peace still, and before we run into these immediately. But these cards are kind of not as common. The kind of like single-use artifact hate cards or artifact hate cards in general are a lot more beatable for Rakdos as an archetype, where you can Pithing Needle these cards post-board, and you can also pressure these cards with Kroxa. Additionally, this build has access to Infamous Cruelclaw, Seasoned Pyromancer, Improv Bones, to a lesser extent Fear of Missing Out, so you can still play some Magic the Gathering, push Thoughtseize, some Magic the Gathering through Graveyard Hate too, but it is certainly difficult. Cruelclaw specifically, I think, is really nice, where you just get to have this Arena of Glory shell where you're hasting your Cruelclaw, your Kroxa, your FOMO, and you're just throwing a lot of stuff at your opponent, even when you're not persisting in Archon of Cruelty. We've actually, if you haven't seen Cruelclaw on the stream before too, we've played this shell a few times, and Cruelclaw basically never underperforms. The card is like really sick when you give it haste. Just cast a card for free. Sometimes you get to cast 2 things a turn with Fear of Missing Out. Good way to juke Graveyard Hate. Awesome card. But because a lot of the Graveyard Hate is like Nile Spellbomb, Thraben Charm, the weird thing is, like, I wouldn't usually say this, but Kroxa ends up actually being pretty good against these cards, where if you discard Kroxa for value and you play an Arena of Glory, you're kind of like make your opponent crack these Nile Spellbombs, use these Thraben Charms, use their Endurance to kill the Kroxa, and then you could try to play into that with the Kroxa and then set up for a Persist Archon. Is something you could try to do sometimes. Booster Vet with the 8 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Of course, also, the big upside to this deck is like being able to go turn 2 Archon in a shell that gets to play a lot of cheap interactive creatures. You compare or not interactive, but like cheap creatures to press your opponent. You compare this to Creativity, which has a plan B of creativity and a bunch of Archons into play. Definitely a pretty tried and true strategy, but I also think Arena of Glory plus Kroxa, Cruelclaw is pretty dang good. So we're going to jump in. I've been wanting to play this deck for a long time. I think the stars have aligned for us to really play both of these decks today. All right, we're going to keep this one. Yeah, Sanctifier is the nemesis. We do have Kozilek's Return in the sideboard as answers to it, but yeah, that card's going to be tough. So it challenges those Neoforming Archaeologist and Trainer into Oculus. It does sound pretty cool. Okay, our opponent was seen 11 days ago playing Ruby Storm. Hopefully no longer. So I think I'm discarding a second Fear of Missing Out, and this will give me Delirium for this one. Once I crack a fetch land. Yawgmoth, maybe. Awesome white noise. Or maybe this is the rock deck. And there's an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Maybe I was a little premature in wanting to play this deck. I don't know. I've been waiting for a long time too. Wordmonger, 19 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. My opponent eats the looting instead of the Archon, which I guess fair enough. They make it kind of impatient and make a Saga token before I attack with the FOMO, and then eat the Archon, which would give me Delirium. So I'm going to target the Archon in an attempt to like just make them Cauldron and Saga token kind of impatiently. See, they obviously may just play tight. Okay. Just playing tight. Couldn't Crime Shift also include Domain? Because Dryad is the primary enabler. I think Guild Pack would work well too. Or does it make that much of a difference? So when you say include Domain, are you saying let's play Triomes. Let's maybe play off-color Shockland, and let's maybe play Leyline of the Guild Pact and Scion, because this, that's a 12 card package. Let's look at this. Let's look at the number of spells that we have here in the Cruelclaw deck just to begin with. We have 34. So you're looking at replacing like 30% of your total land count here, which that seems high to me. It's a pretty high number. Could you include these cards? Yes. How would you include these cards? I guess might be the better question. I'm surprised you don't play Nautilus not in the challenge. We played it on Monday, and opponents ran pretty hot against us. Okay, I do think in this spot I'll be happy enough to trade Emperor for the Construct token by adapting to. I mean, Guildpact Draco 2x Leyline, yeah, exactly. It's just this. You're just at that point. Like it's just a completely different build. Was thinking about keeping the arena in case I drew a Cruelclaw. Also turning the blue-white Kappa deck from the other day into mono blue control with Chalice, Force, Rebuke, Snare. Yeah, we've played that deck, and they provided the box field. We weren't main decking Chalice, but you could main deck Chalice if you feel like it's good, obviously. I certainly would not play Chalice and Snare together, but I'm sure you're just saying a bunch of different cards. But yeah, we literally have played that deck and think that deck's good, and we've played it multiple times on stream. I do recommend it. I would like to play it again sometime soon too, I think. So we're going to play our Cruelclaw, and then we're going to hope to Surveil into draw or Seasoned Pyromancer into a Fatal Push to kill the Construct, which will allow us to start attacking with the Cruelclaw, hopefully. Having a fair amount of success with the Sim Food Time Civ. That one seems pretty decent. I'm sure it's fine. We played a little bit of it too. Well, this will make my Seasoned Pyromancer a lot worse. Main phase cracks a Spell Bomb. At least a sign that their hand isn't super good. But they find another Saga, which is probably going to win the game. I said that, I built this deck in mind of being able to play through Nile Spell Bombs. 2 game 1 and a Cauldron. Not exactly what I had in mind. The Pithing Needles are going to help a lot post-board. I think let's just go ahead and move into that. I almost want to play like 1 Charmaw for the Sagas. It's probably a little loose. Against the rock decks, I don't think we're going to play the Leyline. I think I will play the extra Inquisition. I think this is Zerk's new Yogg list that doesn't run Blood Artist. I mean, it's just, is that a Yogg list or is that the rock list that plays 2 Yogg? Because there was a deck, I think that was Zerk's list that was playing 2 Yawgmoths as like a card draw engine in this shell, but there's no Young Wolf, there's no Blood Artist, there's no Court of Calling. Is that a Yogg deck? I don't even know. I'm genuinely asking. Okay, I think I'm gonna cut the Kroxas with the Needles being my plan for the artifact-based graveyard hate plus the Cruelclaws, plus the discard spells. Yeah, it's like they're playing the Urza Saga like they may have the card Yawgmoth in their deck, but I'm not really thinking of it as a Yawgmoth deck. Because it's like they do just sometimes play it as I'm going to sack Bowmaster and spawn tokens, and I'm going to get a little bit of incremental value, or Grist tokens. It's kind of weird. Singer with the 34 months, welcome back. Any recent thoughts on the Jessica Cure deck? I've been doing well with it, but I was wondering if there are any changes. I want to figure out a interactive suite that isn't so in on Force of Negation, now that I don't think Force of Negation is as good as it used to be. Although with Breach picking up, it is kind of getting better, so probably not going to mulligan this one. What protection of red card is being ran right now for the Kozileks? The black-white mid-range, like Aether Vial deck is pretty popular, and they play a Sanctifier in Vec. There's also a few other, like the green-white Birthing Ritual, Hammer Time to play Sanctifier. But it's also I mostly want this card for energy, right? And I think the difference between 2-mana Sorcery Speed Pyroclasm and 3-mana Instant Speed Kozilek's Return is very close. There's a good chance that Kozilek's Return is like about equally as powerful as Pyroclasm would be against energy. And so the fact that you get a version that can just snipe the best card in the format against you and give you a chance against it seems kind of nice. Breach is the reason I like the deck at the minute. It feels very favored. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic here for the upcoming RC specifically, where for a long time, like we've had like decks rise to the top of the format and they just fucking stay there forever, and we're seeing like real metagame evolution where like creativity's rising to the top, creativity's falling out of favor. Oculus is rising. Oculus is kind of falling out of favor. This black-white Vial deck is popping up. You can have a lot of success with a lot of different brews. Now Breach is all of a sudden like the deck to beat. So at the RC, it's going to be very interesting to see, does this trend continue? Does the Breach deck, which is probably going to be the deck to beat at the RCs coming up, because that's where we are in our cycle or whatever, does that deck get hated out? And does that deck not perform super well because everyone's ready for it? They choose an Agatha Soul Cauldron here. Or are people just pretty dang ready for it? And or is the deck just going to be actually just too good to beat and it plays through the hate? So we'll see. But I'm eagerly awaiting. I think I'm going to discard Persist and second Arena of Glory here. We genuinely might hardcast this Archon of Cruelty with haste. I built this deck 2 days ago with Bobble and DRC. I think it just takes up so much slots, and I really like the thing is it's like I really want to play a lot of Kroxas because you could just discard from them for value, play the Arena of Glories, and I feel like it's hard to play interaction, card selection, discard outlets, and the arenas. This matchup does seem awful though. Does seem fucking awful. Can you elaborate on Infamous Cruelclaw? Seems clunky to me. I'd be happy to. So, in Modern, there's a lot of cards that you have to reevaluate because you can Arena of Glory them. I think let me think of any like normal examples before I say Kalia, but Kalia is the first card that's coming to mind. I don't know if you've seen our Mardu Kalia deck, but giving that card haste lets you put a Traxa and Gristlebrand into play, and you can Goryo's it back, and that card's been really sick. So it's like Cruelclaw, like just look at the card and then imagine it has the word haste on it. Which, with 4 copies of Arena of Glory and a lot of card draw in this deck, it more often than not does just have haste. Is that not just like an absurd card? Just hit you, cast a free spell most of the time. Yeah, Dreadhorde Arcanist. Yeah, there was a time where we were like 13-2 Dreadhorde Arcanist just because Arena of Glory makes you just these cards just play really different. When are we going to Arena War and Instigator? I did it off stream, and it does just still get like blocked by everything. Like Cruelclaw has Menace, which is huge. It's a 3/3, so a 1 toughness creature. How do you have the Arena Woodlands deck? I tried searching your Moxo deck. I have very rarely played Arena and Shifting Woodlands together in the same shell. I've done it with like weird, like Flage, Fanatic of Ronus builds, but You should be able to search by card also. What's good? What's a good deck against Breach? So I really recommend the green white Birthing Ritual deck. I'm gonna play it in the Super Qualifier tomorrow. But you get to main deck 4 Ranger Captains. Ranger Captain is an absurd card against Breach. You get to board in these Orum's Chant. You also have main deck Thraben Charms, which is great against Breach. You also have White Orchid Phantoms for their sagas, and you have Endurances to post board. Your deck is just non-stop bangers against them. Okay, so if I go, protection from humans. I'll just take 3. Oh yeah, Mill is probably very good against Breach. That does actually make sense. Bit awkward. Yeah, I think we are just kind of trying to like chump block our way into a just haste the Archon of Cruelty. I am optimistic though that the metagame will evolve and Breach falls out of favor some. Green Sun for Grist. All of the Woodlands decks are modern. None of them are marked historic. Yeah, you might be confusing me with someone else. I meant MTGA Woodlands. Yeah, I have not played a single arena stream since Shifting Woodlands was printed. What's your opinion on Eldrazi Through the Breach versus Eldrazi Ramp? I've had tons of success with Through the Breach, but yet to play Ramp. But yet Ramp sees more play. Good question. I think Through the Breach is pretty solid. I don't think I would play Yggdrasil. I have tested Yggdrasil and don't think it's very good. I do agree with this general sentiment though, that I've been finding a ton of success with Eldrazi builds that are not just the stock like Temur Ramp build. I've even been beating the Temur Ramp build with my other with my Mono Blue Eldrazi, with Magus of the Candelabra Eldrazi, with Aetherworks Marvel Eldrazi, and with we played one league with the God Pharaoh's Gift Woodland build with looting, and we trophied, and we just haven't even talked about the deck since then. And I think that there is a ton of room. There's a ton of room for playing and building other Eldrazi decks, and it doesn't really seem like people are doing that. I agree with that. I think Through the Breach is an option. Through the Breach also seems to be one of these decks that is good, good against the normal stock Temur build. So continue working on it and just try to go with your gut. There is my recommendation. Okay. I'm not even sure Hasty Archon gets us there. We get to gain 6. We get to kill the Grist. They sack just here. Yeah, we're even just dead. You got enough graveyard hate. Dude. Unfortunately, it seems Fnatic of Ronus Eldrazi is horrible Temur matchup. Yeah, you may have noticed me not include that deck on my list. Well, this is at least an achievement unlocked. Chef Fluence to 20 months. Onosaur to 34. Hope you're doing well. I don't really know how they don't figure this out. we're very dead there. I guess we have to keep this. Chally starts in like 22 minutes, so probably right after this match. Why was it dead? Because my opponent, they sack the Grist to the Archon, and then they get to just kill both my blockers with Yawgmoth and attack me for lethal. I've been having a great time with the Can't Believe It's Not Nadu deck. I've been trying out Coiling Oracle in the Fungus slot. Yeah, I cut the slot fungus also. Coiling Oracle comboing with Nantuko as a mid 5th Risen Reef and a Timeless Provisioner and in the Lotus Cobra slot because it can bank the mana and treasure tokens. I feel like Cobra being the thing I don't like about both of this is like so Timeless Provisioner is 3 mana, and if you want to tutor a 3 mana landfall creature, it's like almost always Nissa. Like you don't really need redundant landfall creatures either. And so like the main point in like Lotus Cobra is that it's 2 mana. Yeah, we need to land for the Emperor, I guess. I've also included Besagio Odawara for the paper loops. Yeah, I think you should include those for the paper builds. I'm not gonna do it on Magic Online. Although maybe you should just have them anyways. It's just such a pain in the ass. Do you think Modern is still in the fun stage of figuring out what's good post ban on bans, or do you think it's starting to settle into meta? We're definitely in the settle into the new meta phase of things here. Okay, if this is the same rock deck 2 rounds in a row, I don't know what we're gonna do. But we are certainly in the we're certainly past the figuring things out phase, and we have entered an actual metagame evolution where decks seem to be rising to prominence and falling out of prominence. The current deck that has risen up over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, is Underworld Breach combo. This deck is, okay, looks like actual Yawgmoth. So maybe I shouldn't have discarded the Surveil land, but it doesn't exactly seem like my opponent can kill this Emperor of Bones very often. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this before they can like Cauldron or Endurance me. We're seeing, and so I am optimistic that Breach will fall out of the metagame as everyone sideboards for it. This has been something that's happened with Breach combo many times since it's been around in the format. There's like a lot of archetypes experts. They declare the deck's busted. The deck is doing well tournament wise, and then people board a ton of hate for it, and it starts losing. And there are a ton of cards that are good against it. Stony Silence, Graveyard Hate, Raven Charm, Graveyard Hate, Artifact Hate. To a lesser extent, Damping Sphere. I don't think Damping Sphere is that good against them. I'm Deafening Silence, Orm's Chant, Ranger Captain. I am optimistic that this will continue, and I'm optimistic that it's Amalia combo. I'm optimistic that it'll fall out of favor. That being said, this version of the deck is the best version ever, so hopefully we'll not eat my words here. Why not turn 2 Emperor into turn 3 Looting Reanimate? Because I wanted to push the Arbor out, Dryad Arbor. Yeah, I think green is really good at the moment. Endurance and Collector Oof are super sick cards. Why is the format not playing Leyline of the Void if it's good versus half the meta? Well, I don't know. Is it good against half the meta? I think that's a huge exaggeration. I do think it's like a lot better against Dimir than maybe people realize, although it can be quite bad against Sink into the Stupor. A lot of decks too, like, just can't afford to play Leyline of the Void. Like, Leyline of the Void is really good in looting decks where you can loot it away. It's much weaker if you're not playing Faithless Looting. So we're hoping to draw a creature so that we can win the game. How do you feel about Yawgmoth? Yawgmoth is good. I'm guessing my opinion on bans is mostly positive. Yeah, I think they really cooked. I think they really cooked. Like, my only critique is I would still like to have as needed bans still be available because the Cauldron familiar. As needed bans still be available because unbanning Opal, looting Green Sun, these are all pretty risky things, but it seems like they did not break it. It seems like everything's pretty damn good. So Needles stop the Sam combo, but not the Amalia combo. Leyline stops the Sam combo, but not the Amalia combo also. If their main graveyard hate is going to be like Sanctifier. I guess they're not going to play Sanctifier in their Sam combo deck, actually, but they'll have Endurances, so I think we'll just try to bring in the extra discard spell and focus on interacting with them that way. Kroxa does seem kind of bad against them. Chima Spyro also. Tell me you're greedy for wanting Ephemera in this deck. I mean, you're greedy. You know you're greedy. You know, you can play a similar shell that's if you're gonna play Mardu for Ephemera, you should play the Mardu Goryo's build, and that build is also good. That build is also good. Kind of a similar formula where instead of Arena of Glory Cruelclaw, you're Arena of Glory and Kalia, which puts Atraxa or Gristlebrand into play permanently. You also get your Arena of Glory Flage in that build, which is pretty good. Can we go back to Aether Mage's Touch? No, of course not. They've printed better cards since then. I think I know we had a lot of fun with the Aether Mage's Touch, but they have printed better cards. Challenge starts in 15 minutes, give or take. Gilded Goose. I'm gonna loot on turn 1. Goose is like kind of like a Lotus Petal a lot of the time. Yeah, thanks for the feedback on the Goryo's deck. I haven't been playing it in a while, but I think it's quite good. It's another one I'd like to play in one of these challenges soon. Like that, Mono Blue Eldrazi, Aetherworks Marvel, the Valakut deck we're playing today, Mono Blue Urza, Mono White Fiddlebender. I'll be playing Green White Birthing Ritual tomorrow. Like I maybe I've been thinking next week I might just try to play like as many challenges as possible. Because like I'm not going to be playing in the RCs this season, but I do kind of want to show off the decks that I think are good, and decks that I've been working that I think are good, and decks that people could consider working on. This card is Buns, just play Coco. You think Birthing Ritual is Buns? Really? Card's 2 mana. It triggers every turn. I do think Ritual is better in value decks than combo decks, but I do think it's better in Sam combo. Looking forward to see Green White Ritual deck. You have a list yet? I have a list, but I'm not going to post it yet because I want to be able to like change it a little bit before tomorrow. Has anyone Coco'd into Oculus yet? No, I think we talked about this on stream a little bit, but there's something interesting with like the blue flares, Oculus, Falahi Archaeologist, and Thundertrap Trainer, where you can like Coco into these cards and they find your Coco and they find your flares. But the problem is, no, they hit Grist? Oh no. Cards Buns. That's my favorite FOMO deck. Let me take this turn real quick. Oops, all Archons. I think I'm gonna K-return in response to the ritual trigger so they don't get anything. Probably the Mardu, probably either this deck or Mardu Goryo's. I'll say Mardu Goryo's. Yeah, but again, the problem with building the deck in that way is that when you build the deck that way, how do I put this? Like it's based. I don't really think it's possible to have your non-creature hit high enough for Archaeologist and Trainer. And also have enough hits for Coco. It might be possible with like Lore and Revealed, MDFC type cards. But probably not. Probably not. I mean, Ritual's Bonds, I mean, Aether Mage Touch. I see. I mean, some people do hate Birthing Ritual. I was confused by the Coco. I do. The Aether Mage's Touch like was an interesting tool with Witch's Cottage when the Esper Ephemerate shell was really good, and Aether Mage's Touch like Mole Drifter into Ephemerate was pretty good, and Aether Mage Solitude, put it back in your hand, recast it, was like when all of these things were fine. When you were mine. Okay, so they didn't want to cast this because I don't know. Because I don't know. Well, we're pretty deep into the deck without seeing a Persist or a Emperor. 4 Lauren, 4 Force, 4 Flare is a good start. You also have the Cocos too. How many of it each would you want? So I think in minimum Coco you want like 27 hits, which is a tough. So let's say that you can play. Let's say you play 22 lands, and then you have potentially like some kind of creature-based mana acceleration. Yeah, I don't really know how doable how doable it is. So I need to push the cat so the Persist can kill the Grist. Carson says minimum was 24. For Coco, I mean, 26 was kind of my number for a long time, and everyone kept yelling at me, and I started playing 27, I think. Obviously, the more the merrier. Coco and Neoform in the deck? Yeah, it might just have to be Neoform instead. Brain Surge with minimum number of creature cards just set up your Cocos. That sounds not like a plan to me. They can fetch Sacked Rider over Grist, are you sure? I would love for them to do that. Do you think a Woodlands build would be viable without the instant win of Karn the Great Creator? All of your other cards in your early builds, except for maybe Urza's Saga and Historic. I'm starting to search for cards replacement. Do you think it has a shot? I don't really know much about the Historic format, so I think it could have his chance, but I don't know what the hell y'all are doing over there. I don't know what's legal. I don't know what the metagame's like, so I can't really, in good conscience, answer without more understanding. Could you try to jam some MDFC lands that are creatures in the front? Maybe. I mean, it sounds like it could be kind of interesting. And that'll be we could have a long challenge stream today. We could get weird with it, try to build it. But value Neoform is mostly strictly worse birthing ritual. Yeah. Good birthing ritual. I've looked at my Yeager deck lately. A little bit, yeah. We did have some fun with Yeager, didn't we? Okay, so they have a food token. And they have 2 Cauldron Familiars. Pretty good. Sad no Arena of Glory for Lethal here. How's Landfall deck? It's been good. It's been good. I'd recommend it. I think the Landfall deck to me feels like a deck that if you really like it, and it's really connecting with you, it's one that you can kind of just play forever, and you can be the Nautilus Nadu Landfall guy, whatever we're calling the deck, and you can like tune it every week, and you can have cool techie creatures, and a lot of people will be kind of confused against you, and they won't understand how your loop works, and you're going to be able to pop off, and you know, maybe there, you know, more cards get printed for it, but it doesn't seem to me like a deck that's just going to get like really ever hated out, and it's like fast enough and interactive enough that seems like you could probably always play it and just be that guy. I love Fiddlebender and was wondering if you thought there would be any legs behind the list featuring Paradox Engine and Essence Reliquary. No, I mean, so I don't know how I mean, I guess I do know how. I know that I've attracted all of the Fiddlebender fans, and I love you, and may your fiddles play beautiful music. But Fiddlebender is a card that I'm basically never interested in putting like big, goofy, dead cards in my deck, besides like the one Crackdown Construct is as far as I'm willing to go, because it's just like a 1-card win the game combo with another card that's already good in your deck. As soon as you start playing like Paradox Engine and you have to go 4 into 5, and then you have to get Essence Reliquary play 2, it's just like way too slow to like reasonably win a modern game. You know what I mean? Just way too slow to like reasonably win a modern game. And in my opinion, I could just be wrong about this, but Fiddlebender is already a slow and clunky card, and the reason why it's much better with Mox Opal, and it does find like sideboard cards for you game 1, and it has access to, or sorry, sideboard cards post board and combo game one. And this is good. The fact that it tutors your sideboard cards into play in sideboard games is good, and the fact that it combos is game one is good. But it is just like weirdly just makes the cut. And I just, as if I can in any way I can make this deck less clunky, I'm interested. Yeah, brutal round one of a tournament. That's magic. That's what all the people say. All right, I think with no arena, we'll put back the Cruelclaw. Also including Turntimber Symbiosis and Hellraiser in this shell. In what shell? the Valakut deck? I don't think so. I'm pretty over. I don't know. I've been thinking about Hellraiser plus looting and Rumble. I'm just not ready. I'm not strong enough. In the Persist deck? Seems pretty unrealistic to include Turntimber Symbiosis in this deck. 9 cards is also just, it's just so many. One day, they'll print a card like Turntimber Symbiosis, like Lorien revealed, that's just a red card instead of a not a red card. And on that day, we'll feast. Discard the Besage. Either hand is Prismatic Ending, Sacred Foundry, Green Sun Zenith, Mystery card. I don't know. Okay, so they're like maybe the Fran deck. Fecund, Green Shell, Glaring Fleshraker sounds kind of hot. If only you could Green Sun for Fleshraker. Whenever Green Shell, another creature with toughness greater than its power enters, look at the top card of your library. If it's land, put it in the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Is there anything? So we also have Precursor as another way to continually make spawns. This was the card I was trying to think of. I don't think it really does anything. Yeah, is there another like whenever make a spawn token? It's probably just gonna be a lot worse than like Brood Scaling or whatever. My opponent main phase endurance is me. That's fine. Yeah, is there anything that's like there is a card, right, that's like whenever you put a land into play, make a plant. Or maybe maybe that's Avenger of Zendikar, that's not how it works. It's kind of bad that the Titania lands have higher power than toughness, huh? Okay, I'm gonna bring in an Inquisition against them. I'm gonna cut a FOMO, I think, and Necrobloom. Well, Necrobloom isn't it's just a one-time trigger. So you'd want something that's like whenever a land comes into play, put a plant into play. And then this way you could kind of like pop off with Green Shell. I've always wanted to play this card, Audience with Tristani. Make a plant and draw a number of cards equal to the differently named tokens. Necrobloom. Oh! This Necrobloom. Sorry, I was thinking of the 3-mana one. This Necrobloom. Sorry. What was I thinking of? like the 3-mana one that enters and you get an insect for each like thing you've descended. Huh. And then you can also green sun for Necrobloom, and you can green sun for the shell. One problem is Necrobloom stops doing that if you have 7 or more lands with different names. Like you start to make 2/2 zombies, which are kind of just worse. Yeah, I was thinking of Micro Tyrant. They're kind of just worse because they don't trigger your 5/5 your toughness greater than power card. I take the red. Mr. Sparkles, 22 months, cooking stream when? I guess during our next cooking sponsor stream. Can play Forest Manas with Grazer Flare, yeah. Yeah, I think we maybe just don't play 7 different lands. Although it'll be kind of tough with the Abzan mana base. And then we could also play White of the Reliquary too. I really don't understand what my opponent's deck is. Maybe it's just not such a problem. The deck this shell obviously sounds like it's probably pretty slow and not that good. So that's an issue. Built around 4-drop, 5-drop that doesn't just immediately win the game. But it does sound really sick. And it also sounds like it's almost certainly worse than the like Nautilus deck we've been playing. But yeah, it does sound super fun. Does Green Shell trigger off of itself? Yes. Okay, that's pretty big. Also pretty big that my opponent uses the binding here so I can get in with the Cruelclaw. Cruelclaw, Green Shell. Did they draw a white card for the Solitude? Oh, they did, and that white card was second Leyline binding. Sheesh. Well. I really enjoyed the Aether Mage's Touch Rainbow deck stream you had a while back. I mean, that was years ago at this point. I don't exactly understand why today we've had like 3 different people. I had to double check that this is a different comment. We've had like 3 different people comment about the Aether Mage's Touch deck. I guess it's because we're playing Persist today. It was very fun back in the day. I feel like a couple copies of Unearth might fit in the deck, maybe at the expense of a Cruelclaw or Kroxa. You can't cut any Cruelclaws because you're playing against Graveyard Hate, I think. Okay, the reveal on Omnath here. Could be wrong about that, I guess. I think I'm gonna go for the hero Persist here. I would play like more copies of Emperor of Bones over any number of Unearth, where Emperor of Bones also is good with Seasoned Pyromancer. It's also can be good with Fear of Missing Out. It also hastes a Cruelclaw, which is better than not hasting the Cruelclaw. I tend to not like to play Unearth and Archon of Cruelty in the same deck in general. Yeah, we're still in the challenge. We lost round 1 to Eldrazi. They had very good draws both games. I'm not sure how the matchup is overall. Like the one time, like their deck is pretty slow, but like the one-time land destruction effects are like pretty easy to rebuild from. But Karn maybe changes the dynamic some. So having 2 Solitudes in their hand. We're probably going to be conceding here. Unless things start to go really, really right. So this isn't so bad. Now we have Kroxa, Arena of Glory for next turn, which maybe will let me gain 6 life and then eat something. I do not have Revolt for the Fatal Push now, but should be actually not too tough to get it. Okay, things are bouncing back. Is there a good replacement for Overlords of the Bailmark and Orzhov decks? I want to try it, but I'm missing 3 Overlords. That card is... They also have a really steady stream of fetch lands here. That card is certainly very important for that deck. I'm not sure how you could build it without it. Precursor makes spawns when you sack things, so fetches would make spawns, yeah. Okay, they reveal an Endurance here, unfortunately. For working on your old blue-white Resurgent Belief deck, using blue and white Overlords. I mean, it does sound kind of fun. I will say, I don't exactly know if there's a good reason to build a deck like that instead of to just play Living End instead. You know what I mean? Yuki, thanks for the raid. Hope you all doing well today. Yeah, blue Overlord's not that good. I think I actually cast a Looting, because this just digs me deeper for an Archon than discarding the Looting to the FOMO. Okay, so we found an Archon. Now we get to draw a card off the FOMO. They've already used their Endurance. They do still have a Solitude in their hand. You know what? We might just win this one after all. It is still going to be a grind. If they Solitude this FOMO, it's not going to be such a grind. Hopefully. Okay. Winnable. Black Overlord makes some sense with Resurgent Belief. I agree. The other Overlords, I think, seem quite bad. And overall, this idea of I'm going to play the Overlords plus Resurgent Belief seems just generally worse than I'm going to cycle creatures and cast a Living End. Oh, Green Sun for another Endurance. I will say energy needs to get fried along Frog. Well, I kind of feel like the metagame is just kind of good, but could agree to disagree. This is the new streaming room. I've not taken the time to move stuff into the orange room. I want to switch rooms upstairs, and I have not started at all. So I'll be down here for a while until I get that done. Yeah, I'm just trying. They had another Endurance as their last card. Just Thoughtseizing for more info and seeing that they have at least 3 Endurances is info. Go down to Fatal Push. Actually, it was not bad that game. I think I don't think I'm gonna draw 2 copies early. Okay, let's try this one. I like that the looting away the Kroxa, and this is a big part of the idea behind Kroxa, will make my opponent more proactively use their Endurances if they have them, or it'll just be good. Do you think the Colossus deck is more playable / less playable without the ring? I don't know. I've tried to build that deck with Opal several times, and I can't really get a build that looks reasonable. We certainly had a lot of fun turns, but the deck wasn't, like, really ever a good performer, I guess. If I was going to RC Portland or another big event, when would you have the deck decided on? Like the night before or earlier? I mean, it just kind of depends. Like right now, I would feel very comfortable playing Green-White Ritual, but maybe that'll change tomorrow after we played in the Super Qualifier. I'd feel pretty good about just registering that deck. Sometimes I don't have anything decided until the week before. I don't think it's ever been the night before. It's usually I know what I'm playing before that. Yeah, usually the latest is like 3 days, probably. So I think I want to go for a Troll Persist here. And if they have Endurance, then we can Spyro discard the second Kroxa. Not sure exactly if the Emperor of Bones changes this equation at all. I feel like the Colossus deck is missing a non-creature affinity card that actually does something instead of the Chris Coria cards. I agree. At least those cards do something alongside Synthesizer beyond just Colossus. Like, with Synthesizer in play, those are just 0-mana constructs at instant speed. And so, you know, at least you can kind of pop off with that. But I agree that is a factor for sure. Get in there, Cruelclaw. Yeah, totally fine if this eats the binding instead of the troll. They may have double binding. That would be bad. Can still play Magic the Gathering. Devo can with the 2 years. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. You know, we probably just need to wait on the Colossus deck because we're about to get an artifact-based set coming out. So maybe there will be something for the deck. Do you think you're a better deck builder, a better player? I think who fucking cares? You know, on stream, I'm focused on showing off decks. I'm showing off ideas. There was a time where I certainly would think that I was a really fucking good Magic player, and I don't think I'm, you know, I think I can get back in that practice if I'm really focusing hard on preparing for a tournament, but I'm not. But I think in general, thinking or talking about how good you are at anything is a waste of time. Just I like to not be Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite and talk about the old brews and talk about the old the old tournament performance. I just care about what I'm doing now. That's all I ever care about. If my Merfolk opponent had not top decked Vendilion Click, I would have top aided that Pro Tour. Me and Zach Alsick and Mickey Humphreys would have top aided the Team Pro Tour in Minneapolis, and then I would have been gold if they hadn't top decked their one of Vendilion Click when I was comboing off with that nauseam combo. You would have seen my name's Rick Hagan, would have said my name, and I would have gone on, and then they got rid of the Pro Tour system. If they just hadn't got rid of the Pro Tour system, you know. I just don't want to be Uncle Rico. Yeah, back in the day, I could have thrown this Cruelclaw over the mountain. Spike says maybe Spike has a preview card. I don't. My preview card is not going to be good with Metalwork Colossus. I'll leak. I'll leak that info. Yeah. Is this the outlook you've always had, or the one you've developed over years of experience? I think it's an outlook I've gained from role models of mine. I certainly went from having no accomplishments and nothing to brag about, and so maybe that'll help. But no, but basically everyone that I admire who's great at doing something just leaves it on the court. You know, they don't spend their time bragging about how good they are. They just they do what they do, and they let people make their own opinions about them. And I think that is certainly the best way to do anything. Do what you do. Share your ideas, and let people form their own opinions about it. You should. It is always a waste of time to try to convince anyone that you're good at anything. It's just an exercise in vanity and just a waste of time. Yeah. How can I get Delirium for this FOMO this turn? It doesn't seem possible, so I guess I won't haste it. I feel like you're extrapolating way more out of the question. I guess so, but I am just trying to give y'all general advice that, If you want to, you should, like if someone asks you how good you are at something, it's just not something you spend a lot of time talking about. So I'm teaching you by spending a lot of time talking about it, I guess. Sorry. I don't know. It's a, what can you do besides ramble? I thought they might attack and I might get to unearth the Seasoned Pyromancer. The fact they attacked with nothing is like I thought they might have at least done it with the endurance. The good news is we can haste a Archon. Attack with Spire with hopes to persist. The thing is, it's just like I guess we just get the 2 damage in, huh? But I was thinking that leaving it back as a blocker was better, but now that my opponent is... Huh. Interesting. I definitely want to kill the Endurance so that the Reflection can't start copying it. And I can just hardcast Archon of Cruelty, so let's just persist the Troll again. Still have all 4 Archons, right? We can also go Kroxa plus Escape Kroxa in one go. Oh, sorry, I thought we had 8. Do you only have 7, don't we? See, so Kroxa, Seasoned Pyromancer are the best top decks then. I think I'm swamp cycling, y'all. I know this is a a lot of pressure, but I just don't think I'm winning this game with the trolls. I have 4 Archons in my deck. I have a, almost 10% chance to draw one on any given draw step, plus like Kroxa, plus Spyro. I think that that's my plan. I'm setting myself up for success here. I don't think that the troll plan is going to be successful. But if you were to have cast it there, I certainly would not have faulted you. We should have hasted that, right? They just get to gain through 4 life off the Omnath. They're drawing like 2 cards off the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I don't think so. I think I'm supposed to set myself up to draw Archon. To me, this seems like this is the game I'm visualizing winning. When I visualize hasting the troll there, I'm visualizing losing a longer game. Because I just can't top deck the Archon. Wild choice? Maybe. To me, this feels like the winning line. Again, this game is going to go long still. On any draw step, I have a 10% chance to draw a hasty Archon of Cruelty. I also have 3 Kroxas that are incredibly good top decks. Seasoned Pyromancer is a good top deck. Fear of Missing Out is a good top deck. My deck is really good right now. And I think leaning into that seems worthwhile. Maybe I don't have that much time because of the whole like double Fable thing. My opponent has, I'm assuming, a second copy of Omnath in their hand if they're attacking with this copy. So I don't think I'll be blocking it. Maybe chumping. Yeah, probably just chump is okay. Not long, they end the game next turn, basically with double Fable combo. Yeah, I guess. I mean, are we winning with the troll in that game though? I don't think we're winning that game. Yeah, certainly not winning that game. The game goes longer. Do you never expect to draw another land? Well, I certainly don't expect to draw a lot of lands and win the game, but certainly winning this game no matter what is going to involve top decking well. So I think I want to set up for that. Oh, you're saying it was right for that reason? I see. Although now they have Reflection Solitude available, so was it all for naught? Like I can wait on the Archon, and then they're going to Solitude this, but then they just Solitude it next turn, so I guess it's better to do it now. No real reason to haste this. The hasting it lets me hit with the troll, right? Because I get to hit with troll this turn, which I guess maybe doesn't even actually matter. But if I don't haste it, then they get to exile troll this turn and exile the Archon next turn. Shooter is 34 months. Thank you back. Welcome back, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thankfully, round 2 of the challenge is about to start, so let's just go pivot into that. I'm gonna go use the restroom. We are 0-1 in the challenge. Lost a tough one to Eldrazi. We're playing the Free Strider Valakut deck. But we have O2 dropped here. A deck I'd be interested in playing again at some point. We're also, I think we're going to pivot off of the Cruelclaw deck. Now I have a updated Anviltron. Yeah, the deck was running One Ring before. Yeah, we have old matches of the deck on YouTube.